Natasha, and if you're watching this video, welcome to my Chiron series. So I will be doing the intro of what is Chiron, and then for each individual sign for each video, as well as how it might be playing out within each of the 12 houses for that actual zodiac sign. So stay tuned, please subscribe and like this video or share it with someone that you may find that it may help them. So we all have Chiron in our chart. So what is Chiron? So Chiron is basically the wounded healer. In a nutshell, it is the area where we just feel inadequate in, we just suck at, we don't know why, and it is something that it will just keep coming up throughout our lifetime in some way, shape, or form. Usually it's stronger kind of earlier in life, and hopefully if you work on it and heal it over time, it will be a little bit lighter and not as impactful or awkward for you. And when you heal it, it is actually your superpower, and it is something that you are really good at in its own way, and it is something that you can help other people who struggle with in this area as well, if that made any sense. I am a Chiron in Gemini in the 9th house, so if you want to look at that video or in my past videos, I have a video on that and how that kind of plays out. So you'll often see me stumbling with words because Gemini is learning, speaking, reading, writing, and learning, and so that seems to be a thing for me. So I'm sorry about that. It keeps coming up. But when I was really young, I was practically a mute and I did not speak at all. So you can see over the years that is, not the case, and I may be able to communicate things to you in a way that maybe other people may not be able to communicate with, or more patient when it comes to learning disabilities, speaking impediments, things like that. So hopefully you find this video informative in the way that I express it, if other videos are not necessarily hitting it for you. So Chiron is just basically that zodiac sign and where it is placing in whatever house it is for you, how it's acting out, or what area in life that Chiron placement is wounding you, or where you have been wounded early on in life and it's kind of affected you in whatever decisions you made, or fear-based mentalities, whatever, things that kind of led from one thing to another over time, if you've kept ignoring it and not addressing it, because it is scary and it's uncomfortable, it doesn't feel good. Sometimes you don't even know how to resolve it because like you're awkward at it. And so, knowing where your Chiron placement is and what sign it is can help you feel like, there's nothing wrong with you. This is just something that you were born with, that you came here to learn as a human being here on Earth School, and for your soul to kind of overcome and resolve in your own way. So this way you can help other people, because when we interact with other human beings on this planet, where we all go through human struggles, no matter what it looks like on the outside, you can bring this superpower, this quality that is very unique and personal to you, to help someone else and empathize with someone else, who's going through the same thing, or a friend whose child is going through something like that and they don't know what to do. You bring this special quality if you're able to heal it, and work on it. So that is basically what Chiron is. It was like a healing centaur, like a good centaur in Greek mythology, and this was a wound that this centaur was not able to heal, even though he was a healer and a teacher, you know, and sometimes, you know, you look at a teacher or a guru or someone who you see as above you, and if they can't figure it out, you know, or heal something or problem solve something, it's kind of like, oh, you know, even my teacher, you know, is flawed, you know, because, you know, regardless of if someone has like a title leadership role, who looks like they have it all, they are a human being and they have problems too. They are not perfect. They do not always have the answers. So, you know, be a little bit compassionate about other people because they have a Chiron placement just like you. And if we all kind of become more aware of our Chiron placement, because it is like a big factor in my what, you know, here we go, in my perspective, yeah. In my perspective, Chiron is a big one to try and focus on and heal. The next one is Saturn, and another one is your North Node, South Node. So please subscribe and check out those videos if I haven't posted them quite yet. You know, you have your big three, Sun, Moon, and Rising in astrology if you're new to astrology. And if you're digging deeper into it, you know, Chiron, Saturn, North Node, South Node. Those are three big ones that I would also dive into, as those three, the Chiron, Saturn, and North Node, South Node thing, are going to be big factors as to how you kind of grow and evolve as a soul, what you came here to do in this lifetime, what is very unique and authentic for you as a human being, you know, regardless of how society is structured or how whatever culture or place in the world you live in, how that is structured. This is more personalized to you. And if you've kind of helped figure that out, you'll kind of have more guidance, you know, as to where you're supposed to kind of go in life, you know. And it can kind of also make you feel heard, make you feel like there's nothing wrong with you. This is just something that you have to work on. You may reflect on childhood as to like connecting the dots of how these kind of struggles may have initiated. You know, like for me, I have Chiron and Gemini, and when I was growing up, the environment was pretty quiet, you know, and I'm a Libra rising, you know, and so I tended to, what I naturally went towards is kind of sensing, you know, I'm very intuitive. I kind of sense, engage the environment, the room. I read body language, facial expressions. When I hear someone say something, you know, I'm not just listening, I'm trying to hear them. And I also notice when I'm not heard because I say something and based on the response someone gives me, I'm like, yeah, they didn't get what I was trying to say. And then I determine, you know, is it important enough or not to intervene, or it's like, yeah, it's like whatever, it's not important, so I'll just let it go. This is something that you can kind of work on and be just more compassionate and empathetic about other people in your scenario. And the more and more people who come to this realization, awareness, level of consciousness, as you know, there's more and more levels of consciousness and awareness, then, you know, you can help prevent hurting other people unintentionally. You know, yeah, because usually it's not intentional, hopefully, you know, but when you're more aware of yourself, number one, you can catch yourself when it's actually happening, or you're like, oh crap, you know, like I did it again, you know, and then you can try and work on it over time, you know, or recognize different things, you know, because if you're not aware of it, you're not going to fix it. You're just going to overlook it. You may realize that, you're just living on survival mode. You're just trying to feel loved and seen and appreciated so much to where you're kind of blinded by what you're actually doing, you know. So I think that's it for my little intro spiel, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so I will start with the series after this, and it'll be time-stamped down below if you want to kind of skip things. So yeah, okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so if you have Chiron in Capricorn and the zodiac sign of Capricorn, you are wounded with everything that is related to the Capricorn archetype. So if you want to learn more about Capricorn, I have a playlist down below in the section, the zodiac signs. That one, you'll find Capricorn in general, what Capricorn energy is about. So you are wounded in this department in life, starting from an early age. And it's just something that is going to reoccur over and over again. But if you push through it, you keep working on it, you're actually very, very good at this. Okay, so try not to give up, because this placement, you may feel wounded in responsibility, duty, discipline, perseverance, pushing through hardship and setbacks, self-worth, self-esteem, wounded with authority figures, or wounded literally in the workplace if you're of age to actually go out there and work, wounded in your career in some way, somehow, not feeling good enough in your work, or not feeling like you know enough or skilled enough with whatever you know, depending on what your career is, or you get in trouble with authority figures, or not feeling like you can be successful or achieving success. So these can be limiting beliefs, or you have a hard time being organized, being responsible. Kind of depends on what you do, but if you have some kind of job or responsibility, you struggle with, you know, organizing or being on time or meeting deadlines, or you forget to put something in your schedule and now you missed something, and that makes you look bad or makes you look like you're not good enough for the job or for the role, whatever it is. So that kind of is something that you have to heal and overcome and practice and work on, find what kind of works for you. You might have had like very, very strict parents who kind of criticized you or really pushed you to do more, or you had parents who didn't do any of those things and they weren't the best role model. So you didn't have like a authority figure or person to kind of learn these little micro skills in order to be successful. Maybe you had a parent or a bunch of siblings that just, they did everything for you, depending on what number child you were. Like maybe you're the third, fourth, fifth child, you know, and so, you know, each sibling kind of takes on their kind of role, or the older ones are usually more responsible, but maybe you are the oldest sibling and now you feel wounded because all this responsibility fell on you when that is not your duty, or you didn't give birth to all your siblings. That was your parents' thing, and maybe they're not responsible enough to kind of work through the consequences of their actions, and it kind of got dumped onto you, and now you struggle with wanting to do your own thing, but now you have to be responsible for a bunch of kids that are not actually your kids, and you're a parent, or you have to be a parent figure to your own siblings. You know, so it's something like you're wounded with either not being the most organized or structured, or being on time, organizing what do you need to do first in order to progress into the next thing, or being able to kind of think of the long term, because Capricorn is about long term thinking and thinking of the future, learning to restrict temporarily for just getting what you need, not what you want now, for the bigger picture. You may struggle with concepts like that, or how do you do that, or you just don't think about it, or you are literally restricted financially or with your skill sets to where you can't really invest in the long term. You have to think about the now. So you might be wounded in categories like that. So it can take on a variety of different directions depending on you and your own situation. But it's kind of, think of Chiron in, oh, we are doing Chiron in Capricorn. I was thinking of the houses. So you have to also look at the house that Capricorn is in for you. So it might be, no. Oh, I'm getting confused already. When I start doing these videos too long, I start like, my brain starts going away. But you may feel wounded with never being enough, because Capricorn is about going through the steps, you know, to progress higher. So think of school. You, in Western civilization or whatever, how they structure it, at least at this time, maybe it will change in the future. You go to kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth, and you work your way up slowly, and you're stuck in that grade for months out of the year. So that is slow progress, and it is organized in the way where, you know, it's about organization. Capricorn is like organizing a large structure or corporation where there's these different people and responsibilities that different people are responsible for manage, or if they don't manage, they work under management, you know. And how do you organize that? How does it work in order to be efficient within the limits of whatever the budget is, taxes, health insurance on the corporate end, while meeting the needs of the employers, you know, what they want. How do you get them to stay and work for you? How do you keep them loyal to your company opposed to going to somewhere else, as well as, you know, them providing a good enough service or work or knowledge, whatever they are skilled at, to where the company can actually function as a little ecosystem or bubble of whatever it is, you know. So Capricorn is organizing. It's like supply chain management, or it's government. It rules government, or actual work, big corporations. It can be school structures. I kind of relate Sagittarius to more of the school structure department, but it can kind of blend over here as well. But just like organizing, how does things connect and work together in an efficient way within a budget, and how does it last in for the long term? It's about reputation, your public image. So you might be wounded with your public image, your reputation, like you want to become whatever the career that you are trying to seek out for, but maybe these little things like getting things on time, or presentations, or being on time to a Zoom meeting, or learning technology in order. Maybe you're not good at technology, but now the job that you are seeking out, they use a lot of technology, and that makes you be late to meetings, or you're not even there. And that makes you look a certain way to a group of people because public image, you know. So it might make you feel like not good enough, not worthy enough, you know, lower your self-esteem. Capricorn energy can have low self-worth, low self-esteem because it wants to be big and successful and good at whatever it is that they are trying to be good at. They want to expand, create an empire, make a lot of money, and feel secure with money, you know, and be proud about whatever they have done to come from absolutely nothing. And then they really worked through the hardship to come up to wherever they are. They became the CEO. From working out of their garage, you know, and they turned something that no one believed in, and you know, they had to do everything on their own from the ground up, and they persevered and did it. That is kind of like the Capricorn energy archetype. So you might feel wounded in how do you structure and organize to get your experiment or your idea or your invention and kind of make it work in order to make it big, you know. So you might feel wounded and things like that, but it doesn't have to literally be such a big grand thing. You can just feel wounded with having to be responsible unfairly at a very young age, and you know, that is a burden to you, and you feel wounded over and over again over time. But you care and you understand, you might be empathetic, and you just take on that role, but it is something that also sets you back in whatever way. So that can be a thing for you. So it's just like something that you feel wounded that is preventing you from climbing up to the top or feeling good enough at whatever you want to do, or structure. See, you might feel fear of failure, because Capricorn wants to be successful. So you feel like, oh my God, like maybe the fear of not being successful gets you to never start at all, which is not good. Not even trying. You're never going to get there if you don't even try, if you don't keep trying over and over and over again and keep learning and growing and finding new ways of how to perfect and master your craft, you know, because that's just like any skill or hobby. You start from it's going to be awkward, weird. You don't feel good enough at a brand new skill set, or if you enter the job and this is your first job in your entire life, you're going to feel like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. You know, this is very unfamiliar, or it feels alien, foreign to you. You don't know the people, if they're going to like you or not, you're going to get along, or if managers are going to kind of connect with you and be on your side, and you're going to work through really good reputation, or they're going to see you as irresponsible, a problem, like a burden to them, and they're going to want you to be out or try and push you out in a way, and you might feel wounded in that way, like they thought you were a good hire, you seemed great, and then it turned out that it wasn't the wisest choice on their end, and now they kind of pushed you out or whatever, and now you're like, why me? Like, that's not fair, or that wasn't right, or you know that you could have done better, and then that kind of goes through a cycle of not feeling good enough. You might have perfectionism, like a perfectionist complex, or you judge yourself really harshly. Like you self-criticize yourself a lot. I should have done it like this. I should have said like that, or I shouldn't have gone and done this. That was dumb, or whatever. And you know, and those things, as you learn through this Chiron in Capricorn, if anything that I'm saying resonates for you, take what actually resonates for you. You learn from it. You know, it's gonna suck if it's really related to your job and financial stability, that really does suck. Any earth sign does not like financial crisis. You know, they get a lot of anxiety, they get stressed out, they'll not have fun ever again until they find their stability, you know. So, you know, feeling wounded here is not fun, but it's something that you would really want and you strive for. Whatever our Chiron placement, we really do yearn and long for it, to be good at it, and that hopefully propels you to at least try and hopefully get out there and seek those opportunities regardless of the setbacks or how many times you've been fired or laid off or things didn't work out, or maybe you quit too soon and you didn't even give your chance the opportunity to really strive in that field. You know, like if you're an independent contractor, or, you know, you're almost kind of like your own business and you have to get your own customers, your own clients, your own patients, you know, and if you don't get paid a salary or an hourly wage, you know, that can be very disheartening. Like if you don't get enough clients or patients, or your clients and patients are not successful, they like flatline, plateau, that reflects upon you, and you might feel really bad, like you're not good enough for this job, or you don't have enough clientele, therefore you're not good at what you do, even though you are good at what you do. Maybe you're not good at selling, you know, and it has nothing to do with your skill set and talent and ability to teach or heal someone or create an invention or whatever it is. Maybe your setback is marketing and sales and trying to pitch ideas and try to woo people into believing that they should invest in you and your company or who you are as an individual. And that may kind of wound or hurt you, or how the public sees you, because this is a public house. People might just see you in a certain way, and they might judge or make assumptions as to what your capabilities are and what you're able to do based on however you're presenting yourself as. So if that, you know, relates to you, because we do live in a time where social media is a huge thing, and whatever you say and do and how you say it or what you wear and all of these things, or, you know, like people look, you know, people listen, people, you know, judge and kind of make their own assumptions and be like, you know, like, it might seem irresponsible or childish or like not a good fit or whatever, and they might exclude you based on those judgments, even though, you know, it shouldn't necessarily be like that. It should be based on your abilities, capabilities, talents, whatever you bring to the table. Probably completely outshine how, in comparison to how you might present yourself online. That's completely not related to your job and career. So maybe that is a thing for you. If it's not, then don't connect to that one. You might have trouble asking for help. That is naturally, that's kind of a Capricorn thing in general. They have to take on all the burden and responsibility, even if no one asks them to. They just kind of do it. And since they learned how to do everything on their own from the ground up, they usually don't ask for help, because usually maybe the help is not even real help. It doesn't actually do anything. It ends up being a waste of time. And so they just don't bother reaching out for help, because usually it's the other way around. Other people are asking for help to the Capricorn, not the other way around. So they just kind of give up on asking for help, or it's like a pride thing where, you know, they don't want to look like they're not good enough, or they're not capable. So you can be wounded with asking for help when you really need it, because that's going to help you grow. Just asking for advice or asking for knowledge, asking for tips, it might feel uncomfortable or weird to do that, because that might make you feel like, oh, you don't know what you're doing, or, you know, but just, if that does apply to you, just know that it's always good to seek knowledge and advice and different perspectives from a variety of people, so you actually get better and you actually know more, and you're able to kind of find your way with the knowledge that you attain in order to climb up. So those are just kind of the Capricornian type of energies, but it's just like, overall might just feel like, ugh, like I forgot to turn in this form or this paperwork or pay the bill. Like, no matter how many times you know you should do it, you put it in your calendar, or you get yelled at from family members or a spouse or something to pay the light bill, and you forget and it gets turned off. And then you feel like, oh, I can't even do something so simple. And that can kind of bring this kind of self-worth, self-esteem thing back up, or, you know, struggle with it. So just keep practicing. Capricorn energy is super slow, so maybe trying to work on this stuff is super slow. You might want to give up, but don't give up. There's some kind of quality to this Capricorn energy, if you have Chiron here, that you're really, really good at. You might be really good at getting money, and it just, you know, you don't have to work as hard for it. If you're lucky, maybe you got inheritances, or people just help you out naturally without you asking for help, because they know that you can't do it. And maybe that makes you feel bad, like you feel like everyone has to donate to you, you know, and you want to be successful. You want to be able to be independent and be able to do things on your own and strive to the top. But because other people see that you're limited, or you just can't do it, or you're not organized, or whatever, that they end up having to do things for you. And, you know, at the same time, you know that it's like you do need that help and assistance, but at the same time, it's like you don't like it either. You don't like it about yourself, this part of yourself. And so you feel like you're a burden to other people, and, you know, that makes you feel bad, and you know, make other people go out of their way or stress out, or they have to pay money that they don't even have in order to help you. And so that can be a thing. And, you know, that can create different projections or defensiveness or insecurities, wanting to withdraw and give up, or, you know, kind of escape to your own thing that you're interested in, instead of working on your responsibilities and duties to keep up with it. You just want to, you know, like, be alone, and, you know, like, not feel like judged, or like a F up or anything like that, you know. So just be careful with going down that route if that applies to you, because you are actually really good at it, but you have to practice the persistence, practice the habit, find whatever works for you. You know, what works for one person does not work for another. So hopefully you kind of resonated with that, and please like, share, and subscribe. And I will go through Capricorn and Chiron through each of the houses for whatever examples I can come up with. It's impossible for me to come up with every single example. You have to kind of assess your own life and your own past, and, you know, really sit and kind of contemplate honestly with yourself. You know, what are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Work on your weaknesses, and you know, just keep practicing, because usually the things that we suck at the most, we have to work on it almost like forever, you know, but it does get better and it's totally worth it, you know. So yeah. If you have Capricorn and Chiron in the first house of Aries, go check out the Chiron in Aries video in the playlist down below to get kind of the combination of what might be going on here. So having Capricorn, not having Chiron, I mean, you do have Chiron in the first house if you're looking at this portion, maybe, or you know someone. This is dealing with the house of yourself, your personality, who you are, your physical body. So you might feel wounded in your physical body, or feel wounded with progressing with whatever you want that's dealing with your physical body. Maybe your sport that you're into, or aesthetics, or how you dress. Or working on your behavior. It's like you're just naturally wounded here. It also, Aries represents the head. So you might feel like, I was going to say, like you're naturally wounded. There's something about you that is maybe physically wounded, where, you know, you have to really work through over and over and over again to kind of unwound yourself, you know. So maybe, you know, you lift weights, you participate in sports or something, and you might not feel good enough as the rest of the group or the rest of the team, you know, to feel worthy enough for the rest. Or maybe you have some kind of physical kind of ailment, or that will just naturally set you back. So it's just harder for you in comparison to someone else. Or maybe you grew up with child cancer or autism, or like a behavioral issue, or severe social anxiety or phobia or something. And, you know, now your personality is kind of like it's hard for you to progress and grow. You have fear of not making it, or, you know, so kind of take that Capricorn archetype of duty, responsibility, setbacks, perseverance, slow growth, even with pushback, setbacks, delays, out of the blue, things that come at you, and who you actually are as a person, your self-worth, self-esteem, like any eating disorders you might take on because of not feeling good enough, or not feeling pretty enough, handsome enough, skinny enough, attractive enough, curvy enough, whatever it is for you. Or it's like your teeth or your thighs touch and you don't want them to touch, or you have jiggle on your tricep and it's like, oh no, so insecure about that, and you want to work on it, but then you don't know how, or you struggle with building the daily habits and persistence and in order to get that. But when you actually do it, you are motivated enough to strive for these things, you are actually very, very talented, and you can help other people who have whatever the wounds are that are kind of similar to yours, and you can help them pull them out of these self-limiting beliefs, or helping them stay consistent, or finding alternative ways of being able to grow and succeed with whatever shortcoming that they have. So those are possible examples of having kind of the Capricorn and Aries combination. Like sports, athleticism, assertiveness, knowing what you want. Maybe you might be wounded with knowing what you want in your career, and you change careers all the time, and then that costs you other problems and other setbacks, and maybe feeling like you're very wishy-washy and indecisive, or not good enough for the job that you want. If it's Capricorn, you might be a Capricorn rising. You might be into kind of unconventional ways of earning your money, and maybe, what you want to do. Sometimes a lot of Capricorn risings, they like military or security or technology security, something like that. And maybe there's something about yourself or your physical body of not being successful or good enough, like athletic wise, in order to be a part of the police force or police department or whatever the role you really want to do. It's just having a hard time feeling successful and worthy of that. So hopefully that kind of resonated for you. So Chiron and Capricorn in the second house. The second house is the house of Taurus. So check out the Chiron in Taurus video in the playlist below. So this is wounding in your finance, your personal stability, your self-worth, self-esteem, how you make your money, how you build and grow longevity with your money, your investments, your long-term accounts. How much can you put aside for your retirement? You might feel kind of wounded here, or just anything, because second house is kind of already related to how you make your money or your career. So there's kind of similarities here. Or we might feel wounded in being able to afford the nice things in life, the finer things in life, due to other responsibilities that kind of pull your finances away. Because Taurus energy is like you are financially stable enough to be able to afford that massage or the nice shoes, the nice suit, or the fancy grooming for your beard, or all of those things, or be able to afford traveling, short distance travel or foreign traveling. And, that means you are financially stable enough to work that into your life. You don't even have to be super rich or anything, but there are plenty of people who, they just struggle to put food on the table. There's no question they can't afford to have a vacation, period, for a long time. They have other responsibilities, or kids, pets, sick parents, or, handicapped people around them that they might feel burdened to take care of. It's their responsibility, they care, and that costs extra money. So kind of just take what resonates for you, Capricorn and Taurus. Check those two signs out. Capricorn and Chiron in the third house of Gemini. So check out Chiron in Gemini. It's in the playlist down below if you want to check that out for more info. So kind of Capricorn and Gemini is kind of not feeling smart enough, or being able to work through problem solving and your education, going to school. Maybe you skipped school, or it's boring to you and you're just not interested, and you skip a lot, and now you have to repeat the grade, or you might not finish high school, but you want to be successful, but you believe that school is stupid and you're interested in doing something else, or playing around with friends in the hallway, in the bathroom, or whatever, and avoiding certain teachers who are strict. You don't like people who are strict, or authority figures, you know, you have conflict with them, maybe relate it to your childhood, and that triggers you, gives you high anxiety, and you get really angry as they're trying to control you, or they're too loud or whatever. And so it makes you want to not be there, or you can't focus on what you're supposed to focus on because other things are going on, or, you know, the fear of failure is kind of catching up to you, or self-esteem issues with your peers, not being good enough in comparison to them, even though, you know, you need to stay in your own, it's you against yourself first, and then you are competing with other people, not necessarily against them. They're just competing with themselves, with you, in the same classroom or grade level. So think, hopefully that helps. You compete against yourself, but you're with other people who are also competing against themselves in order to be better. And some people do it slow, some people do it fast, some people are really good at one subject and not the other. And so, you know, just, you know, go with it. And whatever time period it is, how things are structured, try not to set yourself back further or prevent yourself from succeeding with kind of skipping the responsible small stuff. That's Gemini stuff, your grade school learning, your foundations 101 or whatever, even though it's dumb or it's tedious or you don't want to be there, kind of learn to push through it. And, you know, because there's a life outside of school. But, you know, if you want to kind of be comfortable enough or be able to have more opportunities, you also don't want to set yourself up for failure, so you don't even get a chance at those opportunities when you are kind of competing against other people for paid positions and jobs based on what you've learned and what you know. And if you don't know anything, or you haven't developed your own skill sets that people need in life to pay money for, you can put yourself in a pickle there. So look at the Gemini, Chiron and Gemini video. Anything to do with reading, writing, learning, comprehension, school learning. You may feel wounded here. You might be made fun of that you're slow, or you're not good enough, or, you know, they teach you something over and over and over again. You still don't get it. And, you know, so that resistance with learning, and you need to practice and study and learn, but it's really hard for you. You don't feel good enough. And so with learning stuff, and like people have different learning styles, you know, like for me, when I had to memorize like the presidents or the order of the presidents or the United States, you know, this grade school stuff, and you had to learn how to spell things well. And I have Chiron and Gemini, like I suck at spelling and memorizing things. It gives me so much anxiety. And I had to luckily, my family had tons of scrap paper and tons of pens from like hotels and stuff. So I had the supplies around me. I didn't have to ask for like paper, and there was like nothing around, or your ink was gone and stuff. And you write it over and over and over and over again. And then you repeat, like structure. So Capricorn is structure. So if you're learning, for example, the 50 states or whatever, and they need to be in order and they need to be spelled correctly, you start, you know, writing the first 4 or 5 and repeat that over and over and over again. Repeat it, and then you add slowly 2 or 3 more, and then repeat all of that and write it. You need to look at it, read it out loud, write it physically, and repeat it over. Go take a break, go take a walk down your hallway or whatever, come back and forth. See if that tiny little break got you to retain short-term memory of what you're trying to memorize that is foreign to you. And go take a little walk, come back, see if you can, without looking at your original blueprint copy of what you need to memorize, and see if you can write it. Like, don't directly look and cheat yourself at whatever corner of the paper that has already written, you know, your answers on there. Go see if you can write it. You remember the order, you know, and the spelling check. And then once you kind of got that down, add another 2 or 3, 5, and repeat the process. Go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is what I had to do a lot. I look like if you looked at all my scrap papers and notebooks, it could look like I'm a crazy person who belongs in a mental asylum, you know, because that is how much dedication and persistence and repetition. You take something that's big and complex, and how do you break it down into something tangible or realistic enough for you to start memorizing little segments, you know? So if you're not ever taught something like that, if that was not in your environment, if you did not have teachers for your parents, both of my parents were at some point in their lives teachers, so that's why I was lucky enough to kind of pick up on studying techniques in order to just make it, you know. Otherwise, like, I would not withhold that kind of knowledge in order to pass, you know. So hopefully that helped you, or if that is not related to it at all, send this to some kid who's struggling with studying, and this is like a studying technique or organization. Like, sorry if I'm going really long in this Capricorn 3rd house thing, but it's just working on your persistence and resilience and organizational skills. And, you know, this is a little area that I can help you with. If this is a struggle bus thing for you, or like organizing your schedule, you need to learn how to organize your own schedule. If you're a teenager, or, you know, even if you're an adult, but eventually, mommy and daddy cannot be a helicopter parent to your own schedule. You need to learn how to do that for yourself. So one of the techniques that I learned actually through ballet when I'm doing my, I was in the company for my ballet in high school, and that required about 21 hours of outside of school training, rehearsals, and practice for chunks of time depending on the season. And in order to fit that in and make good grades, keep up with quizzes, tests, projects, deadlines, and all of these things, as well as that many hours, it's like a part-time job outside of normal hours of school. You have to learn how to be very organized. And so have like a paper calendar. I mean, you can use your phone nowadays too, but back then we had like flip phones, and they didn't have all of this fancy stuff that we do today. But have a paper calendar, have it on your refrigerator or in your room if your parents don't like it on the refrigerator. And go through the semester. You get a syllabus, I think, still, the beginning of each semester for each grade, depending on how your school is being broken up into whatever segments. And they should list what dates and of things like when your tests are, when your big final projects are, when your final exams are. Write in every single subject that you get your syllabus in, write down in your calendar for the entire year, as far as it goes, the dates for all of those things and circle them, put like a big highlighter, and then do whatever fun stuff you want, you know, so this way you see ahead of time of what is to come, you know. And then if you have any extracurricular activities, if you're part of band camp or whatever, a school associated or not school associated, and you know about these performances, these tournaments, or whatever it is, write them down, fill it in. If you have a dentist appointment, whatever, you need to know for the sake of your own self and your own life, because at the end of the day, if your parents forget and they're overwhelmed and they're working all the time, you have to find a way to make life work for you. No one's going to do that for you when you're old. You know, you have to eventually learn how to manage all of that stuff. So those are some tips on how to pre-organize. So this way you can look ahead. You need to know yourself. Are you a quick project worker, or do you take a while? Is your schedule so full to where, like, if you know you have a big project coming up in 2 weeks and you need to know what the project is if the teacher hasn't even given you the instructions yet, and are you going to ask, like, are you going to give us the instructions for the project that is due in 2 weeks, because I have a lot of stuff that I have to organize in order to get it done. I need to start working on it this weekend to like fit everything in. You know, I've actually had to ask a teacher that at one point, because I saw it and I'm like, I didn't even get the instructions yet. This is giving me anxiety. And I need to, you know, start working on it. I need to figure out, do I need to make a freaking catapult in the wood shop? You know, because that's going to take up more time that I don't have, you know, and I have to make sure other students are not using the machine because they have all the time in the world and I don't. I need to hurry up and get in, you know. So learning how to structure and organize, and learning about time management, the efficiency of what can you do within a certain amount of time? What can you do with the limitations of supplies that you have in order to get something done? That is all Capricorn structure, energy, being responsible for the sake of yourself with the other setbacks and limitations or things going on. You know, like in high school, my dad had cancer. I had to help around with my mom. My mom still had to go to work. We're not rich or anything like that. We're okay. We're middle class. But, you know, she had to drop him off in the morning. He was patient enough to stay there. And I went after high school and picked him up, came back, like a 30-minute drive to and from. And then I went, did my homework as much as I could, then went to ballet class or violin, piano, tennis. I somehow managed all of that and fit it in and still made over a 4.0 GPA for high school. So hopefully y'all got an extra bonus for that. I have not given that to the Chiron in Gemini or Sag people. Those are the two learning houses. So learning that Capricorn structure, efficient of time, you know, with learning your foundations, it's so important. Those little habits that you build growing up, the sooner the better, even if you're older, they will help you in so many ways in your career. It's like it's like an investment account. You put aside a tiny bit of money that you don't really notice, and you practice it all the time to the point where it's like effortless. You don't even notice it. You don't feel it. You just naturally know how to structure, organize. How long does it take you realistically to get from one point A to another, or you need to look that up so you're not late. It doesn't look bad on your reputation because if you're late, that can make you look bad. It makes you look unprofessional. You know, things like that they matter, you know. So I'll stop that one. So good luck. Chiron in Capricorn in the 4th house. So check out Chiron in Cancer video in the playlist down below. You'll get some insight on there. So you might have felt like you had to take on early responsibility in the home. You might be wounded from your family and household upbringing, your childhood upbringing, and you had a lot of duty and responsibility, which, you know, should not have been yours, but that's just what you got, and that's a possibility. And now you have to kind of, maybe you're really good over time at organizing and creating structure within your family and siblings and in the home, knowing how to build and heal a broken family. If you marry into a kind of a family that there was divorce or widowed, or they're orphan or foster family, you may be really good at caring and teaching or structuring the home and family life, where there's kind of like, maybe, because this could be child psychology, you know, because your childhood is like the foundation of, you know, how you see the world later on, the tools that you kind of learned and observed, and, you know, how that kind of takes on in your career and work. If you have Capricorn here in the 4th house, you might be a Libra rising like me. So if you're wounded here in the home and family, you know, that does take a lot of like psychological kind of things out into the world. Like hardship, setbacks, you know, there's maybe struggles in the home. And when you're out working in your career, you know, you have all these other things in your mind of what's going on at home, and, you know, how can you kind of manage the work life and the finances in order to keep it together in the home. You might be really good if you heal your wounds here, you might be really good at creating a home business in some way, shape, or form, because Capricorn is work and it is in the house of the home. So you might be able to have your at-home business, or be able to do whatever hobbies and talents that you do have, and make some kind of living or part-time income side hustle from your home, like I'm doing right now, even though I don't have Chiron in this placement. So take that and see if you are able to structure everything and organize or make it work for you. It doesn't have to be super structured. It just has to be functional enough where you can possibly do well with work at home, or being able to heal a family dynamic, or improve or work on emotional intelligence, or nurturing, caring, being a caregiver of some sort, caring for, you know, anything, children, babysitting, taking care of pets, house sitting, things like that. Maybe you're really, really good at. If, you know, the other parts are you keep struggling with, but hopefully you keep working on them. Okay. Okay. Chiron in Capricorn in the 5th house of Leo. So check out Chiron in Leo video in the playlist down below to get more insight. So you might feel wounded in the dating life, or maybe this might not apply to all of you, but you might, in order to learn more and more, you might use people that you date in order to learn and grow. but you feel wounded by them, but in some kind of weird way. You might learn from all the dating relationships and encounters that you have on a kind of surface level basis with the people that you get into relations with, regardless if it's a one-night stand or a few years. You might learn about relationships or dating or what people are interested in, the dating field, even though you might feel like you're not good at it, or you always feel wounded at it, or you don't have successful relationships or dating prospects, or maybe you have a hard time coming up with creative dates and entertainment, or presenting yourself, because it's kind of like an interview process, being likable enough or entertaining enough, fun, playful enough. So you might not feel good enough in this department, or going through so many relationships here, you kind of really learn about the dating world, dating field. What do women want? What do men want? What do, all of that stuff. So you might feel wounded, and maybe you're always late for dates. Maybe you don't plan well, or you show up with your date somewhere and you're like, oh, I didn't realize you needed tickets, and the tickets were sold out yesterday or whatever. And now what do we do? And it kind of keeps happening, and it makes you look bad. Capricorn is reputation and public image. And so maybe your date will be like, I don't know, this keeps happening, and you seem like a good person, but I'm getting sick and tired of this. And so they fade out. And so that hurts you. And there's this cycle going on, and it keeps happening with all the dating prospects that you have, and it hurts you, makes you feel like you're not good enough or lovable enough for a dating partner, and you have a hard time. Or maybe you have ADHD, or other trauma that maybe you self-sabotage, stuff like that, insecurity issues, feeling like you can't meet the needs of your dating partner, whatever they're saying that they're wanting, or whatever you're hearing them, and you're like, oh my God, like that seems kind of unrealistic, or there's no way that I could actually dedicate my time and energy to that. That doesn't seem realistic, so maybe you really are good at these Capricorn things, but you never feel good enough for the high expectations, whether they are deserving of these high expectations or not. You might feel wounded there, or how you advertise yourself. Leo is like the entertainer. The lights are on them. They're the star. People circle around them in some way, shape, or form. Like they're the star, the shiny object. They know how to entertain. Like they're funny, or they're charming, or they have a way with words. They know how to woo you and kind of give you the woo-woo in order for you to swoon over them, maybe, or they're just a natural born leader. They have a giving heart. But being able to present yourself in a way like that is very weird, or you're very shy, and maybe you have all of these abilities. You are totally worthy of taking responsibility of, whatever the needs this person is or wants, like financially maybe. And, but, maybe you're not, the archetype entertainer of someone who can provide those things, but they might think that you're not that fun or boring or whatever, and they just want you for your money, so anything like that. It's just combination of Capricorn archetype in Leo archetype, you know? So check out Chiron in Leo video, or in my playlist called the Zodiac Signs. There's a Leo, there's just all the zodiac signs, just like the energy of that actual sign. It doesn't have to be the sun sign or whatever. It's just the energy of that sign. You have all 12 zodiac signs within your own chart. So just depends on where it is. If there's a lot of planets or asteroids or whatever in there or not, gives you more energy towards those areas in life, or those archetypes, and what you came, the cards that you were dealt with here, and maybe things that you need to learn in this lifetime. So yeah. Chiron and Capricorn in the 6th house. So 6th house is the Virgo house. Check out Chiron in Virgo, or the playlist of the zodiac signs, Virgo energy, Virgo archetype. Check out those videos to learn more about this house. And Capricorn here in another earth sign. So Capricorn is an earth sign. 6th house Virgo is an earth sign. It can be related to your work already, or your day-to-day activities, your day-to-day duties, responsibilities, your health, and your pets. So structure, organization, you might have feel wounded being able to do that, or getting into a routine, or working on your health, because your health is like a routine you have to work on. If you're working on getting stronger or getting leaner or eating healthier, finding a routine that works for you, or maybe you're a workaholic and you don't have time, or you have 20 kids. So how in the world are you going to have time for that? Especially if the 20 kids are all infants and they're running around. You had like, oh no, you had quintuplets at some time point or whatever, or you foster, and you foster a ton of kids or something. So you happen to have like 20 kids. It's just for fun. I know there's people out there who do. So it's just creating, organizing, structure, and being responsible on a day-to-day basis, and maybe being kind of critical. This is Virgo is a very kind of nitpicky, critical sign, very detail oriented, using discernment, noticing the little fine details. Can be literally or energetically, noticing the red flags, noticing maybe like liars, or people who, you know, their words do not match their behavior. And would you want someone like that on your team, or to hire them, or whatever? And so you might feel wounded on the day-to-day with your employers, your employees, what they do, what they do not do, managing them, kind of, it can be something like that. Or it can be creating a routine and structure, discipline relating to your health habits and health routine, or not feeling capable enough, good enough, feeling very insecure to even start, or you're a perfectionist. But if you do work on this Chiron placement, you're actually very, very good at it. So you could be super fit, super duper healthy. Maybe you take it to the extreme. Both of these signs, zodiac signs, are workaholics, Capricorn and Virgo. So if you do work on this wound or placement, you could, you know, you probably started when you're really young, and you wanted to work on it, and you're a super duper athlete, and you have special abilities and special skills, and maybe you know, you had the duty and responsibility to wake up at 4 a.m. every single day during high school and practiced for an hour, hour and a half before actually going to school and making your own breakfast and taking your own booty to school and everything, you know? So really kind of take it as how it applies to you in particular. And, you know, as phases of life continue and evolve, then it can kind of take on a new kind of way of being, you know, and then you work on that, you know, because that is life. It's always work, and, you know, periods of happiness and peace and periods of not so fun times and struggle and unexpected events and stuff like that. Chiron and Capricorn in the 7th house. So this is the house of relationships, partnerships, and contracts. The house of Libra. So check out Chiron in Libra if that helps you get more of an idea for you. So maybe feeling you're so wounded in relationships, or building and progressing in relationships, or feeling burdened by your relationship partner, or whoever you have some kind of close relationship with, feeling like you have to take care of them, or you have to take on their responsibilities, or they feel like work. You know, it might not be intentionally that they want to be someone that you have to take care of, or you have to be taken care of by them. It could be vice versa. You know, like maybe you're just really handicapped, or you have autism, borderline autism, or something where you just need extra help. And now your partner, whoever is close to you, can be a parent, a sibling, anyone of some kind of close relationship. If you do not have a partner of some sort or a significant other, you can feel wounded in this department, or it comes up over and over again, or just kind of being tired of talking right now. So I know this is going to be the last video for today. Not feeling good enough for your partner, or not feeling successful enough for your partner, or financially successful for your partner, whoever you have a relationship with, or you might feel wounded in business contracts. You might not look at the fine details, or you missed the deadline, so now you have to pay a bigger fee. If you kind of are not organized with structure and having to get things done, or you didn't anticipate, like, oh, I thought I'd have time to turn in that paper in, and then you find out that after that paper, now there's another form or paper that you also have to do, and that's going to take time, and the deadline is today, and you did have 6 months to do this, and you chose to not even start until the very last day. You just procrastinate. And now you have put yourself in a pickle with some kind of contract document, because Libra represents contracts, and maybe that kind of spreads out into relationships, you know, so it can be anything related to that, or trying to come up with more. Just kind of feeling responsible in relationships, or taking on duties or burdens from your relationship. Maybe you marry someone who already has kids, and now the kid has extra stuff that you didn't anticipate, or things come up, and you are the one who kind of makes more money, and now, you know, you feel wounded by it, or it kind of pulls on your success or your time away from work, you know, and you do care, and you are, you know, you do want to work on it. You care about your relationships, but you feel constantly wounded. It's going to kind of poke at you, you know? So it doesn't have to be anything like you're a bad person, or, you know, it can make you feel guilty, you know, for ever thinking of things like that. But at the same time, you know, feeling stable or financially stable, because things cost money in this day and age, and that can kind of pull you down or make you feel frustrated or anxious or maybe depressed, you know, like it's preventing you from being successful in a relationship or whatever you do for work. It's kind of like holding you down, or you don't feel good enough, or you're not perfect enough in the relationship, and you keep trying and trying to be successful. Or maybe you're just attracted to someone who is toxic and it has nothing really to do with you. You're an overgiver, and you have learned to self-sacrifice in order to feel caring. You're a very caring and nurturing person, and you want to be good enough for your partner, but maybe your partner's very like particular and strict and not sensitive like you are, because maybe you're a Cancer rising and you get wounded from your Capricorn partner if they are embodying Capricorn energy, and then you have Capricorn Chiron in here, you know. So maybe your significant person, your significant other, builds up on their career, you know, and you watch that happen, and you end up being stay-at-home parent or wife, because you know that can cost like a salary, taking care of kids and all their activities and food, cooking, laundry, chauffeuring to all the places or whatever. And so you stop working for a period of time, and you know, like you did want to work, but you also love taking care of your kids, male or female or whatever. And you watch your partner move up the ladder into big success. They got a name for themselves. They get to travel all over the world, give lectures or whatever. And just watching that happen, you know, almost like jealousy or envy, that kind of hurts you, because you wish maybe you could do that too, but you sacrificed yourself for something that you also care about, you know. And, you know, sometimes when someone outgrows you, and that bandwidth of, you know, that bubble of you're kind of on the same level or whatever, and now they really moved up, they associate more with a different group of people. They make a ton of money, and you just live off of them. Maybe that makes you feel kind of bad or guilty or not good enough. You don't bring enough to the table anymore, or your kids grew up and they're out of the house, but now you spent 18, 20 years not working. And so no one's going to look at your resume. It's like, what have you been doing? Like, oh yeah, housewife, house husband. Sure. Okay. There's nothing we can give you. We want someone more experienced. And so that can create like a wound, hardship, insecurity, even though it wasn't really intentional. So that's like an example of how it might be playing out for you. But kind of take this Capricorn archetype and Libra archetype for your wounding analysis. Okay, Capricorn and Chiron in the 8th house of Scorpio. So check out Scorpio Chiron playlist video. I feel like my Chiron in Scorpio video was not the best. I was blanking out quite a lot. So hopefully it is informative enough. So you might feel like wounded and have a lot of setbacks with debts, taxes, inheritances, other people's resources, other people's material things, other people's stuff. Usually 8th house things come after marriage or after a relationship, anything that you join together. You share your in-laws, you're sharing your family, whatever problems they have, and they're putting that on you. That can create a burden or an extra obstacle or whatever it is. You might not feel like maybe your partner has like a ton of assets or whatever, and maybe you have nothing. You just have your job, but you didn't build enough or diverse your finances into real estate and 401k and extra, all this stuff. And so maybe you don't feel good enough or you provide enough in comparison to the other person. Maybe you have a hard time organizing and being responsible with your debts, your credit card debts, your loans, your whatever, or setting aside funds for the tiny little things that do pop up. Like, you need to change the tires or the oil change that costs more money or that requires time. You've gone without an oil change for 5 years and now the car is messed up and it's not paid off. And now you have to pay way more money in order to fix it. You can feel wounded in your gender identity. That's more, look at the Scorpio part of it, or in the bedroom, your playtime might feel wounded there, or trying to think a little bit. Capricorn, how to grow and develop your sexual play or your romance, like when you're alone together with your significant other, feeling burdened by that. Whatever is kind of taught or talked about in secrecy together, you might feel wounded by it. Or maybe your partner says things about you that makes you not feel good enough, or you have a hard time overcoming something within this realm, sex, the actual gender or the genitals, your identity, sexual identity, how playful or experimental you are in the bedroom, or anything dealing with death, taxes, inheritances, other people's resources and money. You can be like in banking and you're a bank teller. It can be a Scorpion thing because you're dealing with money. Money is Taurus, and Scorpio deals more with money and finance. And it's about the other people's finance. And maybe you're wounded with how to grow and expand your finances or your significant other's taxes, or getting tax breaks, or growing your funds together. You might feel wounded in some way, or you have to take out money often because something happens, or you didn't plan accordingly, or you lived above your means so much to where now you're trying to catch up and you're in a pickle and you can't get out, and now you have to tap into your resources or your partner's resources. So it can be anything dealing with that. It doesn't have to be everything. So kind of take it as it applies to you. Chiron and Capricorn in the 9th house of Sagittarius. So check out the Chiron in Sagittarius video. I felt like that was a pretty good video throughout the whole thing. Capricorn, learning to build and progress or move up the ladder in the school system or higher education system or philosophy, religion, politics, anything dealing with groups, big organizational groups, or building up, you know, in that department or realm, or learning how to dedicate time and struggle. It's like studying. If you don't pick up on school stuff very easily, it's like you have to work like a lot, you know, like you have to work so much more than some other kids in order to gain that knowledge or gain that wisdom, gain that kind of comprehension of whatever thing is trying to say. So you might not feel good enough, or like, oh my God, this takes forever and I suck, you know. That can be a thing, because it's kind of like, if you were the student who you had to work so hard just to make like an 80 for a test or a quiz or something, and you studied a lot, you know, and you made an 80, and then your like schoolmate next door to you was like, oh, I never even studied, you know, for this quiz or test, and then you look and you see their grade for that test or whatever, and they got like a freaking 98, and they didn't even have to try, you know. And so you may feel wounded in this department. So it's kind of thinking like that just takes a really long time, or you feel like you struggle all the time, or you don't get it, you don't comprehend, or you understand, and you try to learn and read all the books, or, you know, study every verse of whatever religious book that it is, and you really, really try. And you try to grow, and you try to move up the ladder, and you dedicate the time and whatever, and you're very responsible and disciplined to your faith or your study of whatever you're doing, or if you're writing something, you're writing a big dissertation or paper, you really dedicate a lot of time and energy and patience to this, but then it seems like your ideas are still not quite right, or not good enough, or you didn't understand the big concept well enough, or whatever, you know. So kind of take those two together, or being able to take what you know and learn and turn it into a career might be challenging for you. Because Capricorn is a career house, how you make money and public image. So you may be really, really good at making a living from doing whatever you know, but maybe it's in a different way if it's kind of not accepted by the larger group. So you might be wounded by the larger group, whatever that group is. Like seen as not good enough, or you're viewed in a weird way, and but you actually have something or know something that, you know, is unique, you know. So take that if it resonates for you. If not, then it was just some ideas. Chiron in Capricorn in the 10th house. So it's Capricorn in the Capricorn house. So you just feel wounded in career, wounded in your public image, wounded in moving up the ladder, growing, evolving, discipline, like working on building and expanding. So it's like expansion, creating an empire, building upon, you know, foundations and layers, you know, or like, oh, I could invest $10 a week into my savings account when you're like 10 years old or whatever, or maybe now, even if you're like 50 years old. And then, you know, if you moved up the chain or whatever, or you got promotions, you have that kind of structure type of job, then you should, or maybe would allocate a little bit more money as the years progress. So it builds and builds and builds and compounds and grows. So you just might feel, it doesn't have to be literally related to money. It's just an example, or investments or whatever. But just feel wounded in there. There's a lot of setbacks, or you don't feel good enough. You get made fun of, or people kind of poke at your reputation, your public image, or say like, you're kind of like immature, childish, or you like to party all the time. You know, you're here at work, but you go drinking until 2, 3 in the morning at night on your own, or you people, or whatever, you always have relationship drama, and it kind of comes into the workplace. And so people somehow see that or know of that in some way, whether you're saying it or talking about it, or maybe you're coming to work partially drunk, or you look like you have mascara running down your face, you know, and so they know something is up, you know, regardless if you say anything or not. And so you might feel wounded there, or just getting things done, organization, everything that is duty, burden, responsibility, discipline. You may feel those actual energies in your house of career, or and it's like maybe you get a salary and people quit, and so they just give you more work, and you have more responsibility and work, and you're getting the same amount of pay. Or if you work in a place where there is a lot of responsibility, or you need to type in notes within 24 hours, or see certain people within a certain time limit because they're going to die, or anything that's more, you know, urgent, and you're on a salary and you're there for the good benefits or the pension or whatever, and you just have to suck it up and take on more work for the same amount of pay. That can be a burden also. Or be like, oh, someone got unexpectedly fired. You're the most experienced and responsible person here because you're actually really good at your job as a Chiron in Capricorn, but because you're so good at your job, we're going to give you more work because we trust you, opposed to all these other dumbass people to do the job. You're the one who's going to do it right. Otherwise, now we're going to have more work, and we're going to give it to you anyway because they always mess up. And so they're mess up. They can't figure it out. Now we're going to give it to the most knowledgeable person to fix it. And so that gives you even more work, and you're getting the same amount of pay. So that is kind of like another example of how something like that can play out, but it doesn't have to be. Take it if it resonates for you to make sense. Chiron and Capricorn in the 11th house of Aquarius. So Aquarius, check out that video in my playlist down below, or check out just the zodiac archetypes in the playlist called The Zodiac Signs. Yeah, to just learn about each zodiac sign and their archetype, because you do have all 12 signs in your chart. So this is the house of your networks, your connections, and your friendships, technology. So, you know, you can think of this in a business way. You have to network in order to, you know, gain more contracts, or people know about your company and what you do, and to get investors or people on your side to work together and collaborate in order to sell your product or sell your invention, or just you yourself, to get yourself out there. Something like this. YouTube or any platform out there is like an Aquarian energy. It shares you're a little piece of energy out in existence, and it's blasting it to all the phones out there if it reaches you, depending on the algorithm and what it pops up, what you like in your little playlist thing. And it's going to try and find out, would someone like you, the viewer, like a video like this, and it might pop up the opportunity to share the knowledge to humanity, whatever interest it is. And so you might feel wounded in your networks or your friendships and connections, or how to build connections, or maybe your friends and networks kind of use you to their advantage, and it sucks, or you feel burdened by it, or you feel kind of stuck and you kind of need them in a way. Maybe you're codependent, or you're fearful, and or you like your structure and security, so you're going to hold on to the networks and friends that you do know, even though they use you. And so that kind of, you feel wounded repeatedly over time, because networks are networks, and maybe you never know when you need to be on good terms with someone, even though they kind of mistreat you or manipulate you, or they scam you out of a deal or something like that, or they steal your work, and they use you, use your hard work. And, that can be Chiron in the 11th house. Capricorn, it could be related to money or your job. You might be wounded with the connections in your job. Maybe these networks and people kind of say negative things to try and tarnish your reputation, whether maybe it's true. Hopefully it's not, or maybe they do that because they know that you're better. They're jealous and they want other companies to pick them. They don't want you to outshine them, depending on your network circle and the people who are in that. Hopefully nobody does things like that, because that's not nice. And that brings the whole group of humanity down when the good people are trying to bring it up. But that is kind of how it might, maybe you have trouble organizing like events and kind of fun things, or just keeping up with friendships, to build and grow bonds, and keeping in touch, maybe you're so busy working, and that takes priority over your friendships and networking, and they end up fading out when you're actually a really, really good friend, and loyal, dependable friend. Like, they always come to you when they're in trouble, but you haven't spoken to each other in like 10 years, so kind of just take what applies to you regarding that department. Chiron and Capricorn in the 12th house, Pisces house. So check out Chiron in Pisces, or check out the playlist down below, which, all the Chiron stuff will be down there. Your ascendant sign, oh, this is totally going to be the last video for today. It will be in the playlist department in the thing below. So 12th house is like places of isolation. If you have Chiron in your 12th house, might feel wounded in your mind, maybe mental health issues of some sort, or anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. Maybe you're really hard on yourself, self-defeating, or you criticize yourself a lot, like you don't work hard enough, or you don't bring enough to the table. This is like in your mind. 12th house is when you're alone, places of isolation. So they say place of foreign lands, because Pisces is when you go to sleep, you go off into a dream state, foreign land or fantasy land, which is not here on earth, because maybe your life sucks and you just don't want to be here. And so you want to daydream and fantasize about something that is just whatever you want, even though it's not realistic at all. or places of meditation, isolation, prisons, asylums, hospitals, places where you're just kind of forced to be alone, or you choose to be alone, or you want to escape. Pisces can be kind of escapist, or they're fearful. That's why it's the two fish, and the two fish go together and then they swim away. They're like, woo, let's get close. Oh my God. And then they swim away. You never see fish really. Maybe when they're being caught in a net, and then, yeah, they're flapping on top of each other like that. But typically they're kind of close, but they're always moving. So being flexible, being able to go with the flow, because Capricorn is kind of structure, organization, whether you're burdened with that because you are so structured and organized, you get more put on you because you're the person who is capable of taking that on, and you feel bad, so you take it on, or people just see you and be like, you know how to do so much within a certain amount of time. Can you do this for me? Because I can't, please help me. We look up to you. The Capricorn energy is like the CEO. Give me a job. Please help me. I'm so poor and broke and have no job. Give me a job. And so they know so much. They've created an empire. And so it's like, okay, I'll help you out. What are your skills? Whatever. Hopefully you have skills, because, they have to keep the company alive. They have to feed 5,000 people or whoever's in their company. They can't sacrifice their whole company for one person or a few people at the cost of the entire group, So maybe wounded in your dreams, this 12th house, wounded in just organizing in your mind or making your dreams a reality. Being able to find structure, discipline in order to make it happen, practice skills. If you dream of being a soccer player, you can't just dream about being a soccer player. You have to actually go outside, go kick the ball around, do all the training, all the running, get your cardiovascular system in shape so you can run around the field for hours, all of that, you have to actually do the work. So this is, mixing that Capricorn archetype, whether you have a hard time with these traits of Capricorn or that make you wounded in this department of 12th house of dreams, being alone. Maybe when you are alone, you beat yourself up a lot, so you don't want to be alone. You don't want to think. Maybe you avoid trying to fix yourself because it's so hard to come to terms with that. This can play out in so many different ways. Maybe 12th house. Can't find out where you're. Just being able to build upon your dreams, create structure. What I was going to say, like either you're really good at these traits of Capricorn that end up creating a burden for you, or they become so overwhelming, or you never feel good enough no matter what. Maybe you're really, really good, but you're still not enough. You keep wanting more, because Capricorn, it's like more and more and more and more and more. We need more. We need more. We need more money. That's why it can be negative. If you have you can be addicted to making money, even though you don't need the money, you have more than enough. You still crave that success and feeling good enough, feeling like you've achieved enough. You keep going. What is the next step? What is the next step? What is the next step? It can be almost like an addiction, and so your dreams just never end, and it keeps going on and on. You might feel trapped to your work, trapped to your dreams or whatever. You know, maybe your mind is like, you're still not good enough. You need to prove yourself and prove your worth to the world. And where in the world did that come from? Maybe one of your parents, you were trying to seek love and attention from one or both of your parents who didn't give you the nurturing that you particularly wanted. And that came out in one of these other outlets of trying to seek attention and accreditation and, you know, being successful in order to fill that hole of self-love and affection that is kind of empty inside, you know. So I always love looking at childhood stuff and trying to relate that into whatever is going on now, you know, and feeling, learning to accept whatever it is. We have a short time here as a living being on Earth. When you really think about it, your window of what you're able, the window of life that you can actually enjoy before it gets really complicated or you start getting really sick and ill or whatever, is, you know, that bubble is kind of short. So, you know, whatever, I can't tell you what makes you feel happy and successful and what your purpose is, but all of this astrology stuff can kind of help in the direction, or maybe feeling heard or not feeling weird, or you're like, I suck and I don't know why. And it's like, oh, well, I have these weird placements that kind of challenge you. And maybe you were given these placements of challenge for a reason, because you wanted it, even though it sucks while it's happening. But there was something that you wanted to learn, or your soul wanted to learn, and you can turn this belief system into something where, you know, the day-to-day is not, you know, as bad, you know, like you can find acceptance and try and work with what you have and be more compassionate and understanding of everyone else also has their unique birth chart and challenges within their own birth chart of all of the 12 zodiac signs as well. And it kind of helps give a variety of perspective when we can always get stuck in our own personal vantage point, and we compare our personal vantage point amongst other people, and we kind of know that other things in livelihoods exist, but you know, your own life is going to come to the forefront first, and maybe you forget that, you know, everyone has problems. So work through your own problems. I'm going on a tangent here, but just remember that you're not alone. You are not the only one going through struggles. And sometimes when you look at other people's struggles, you'll be like, you know what, mine is not that bad. I don't have much of an excuse as this other person who's like, oh my God, I would not want to trade places with this other person, and I will suck it up and work on my own challenges, you know, because there's always someone who has it worse, or, you know, it's a ticking time bomb and it's about to happen. So, you know, always think about work on yourself, and hopefully everyone else is also working on themselves, and you are all doing that kind of with each other, but individually. And, you know, because no one is exactly the same, but we're similar enough to share what's going on and stuff. So I don't know why I had to go on that weird lecture, but hope you enjoy. If you are interested in a personalized perspective birth chart reading from me, you can go to my website, www.unmet.com. natashascreativewellness.com. It is in the description box below. You can check out my products. If you want to support me, you get like an actual product if you buy something. If, you know, some people donate and stuff to tarot card reading things if they got, you know, actual advice and benefit from whatever they have to say. And so that is a form of donation from my channel if you're willing or interested in whatever I have on there, because maybe it's not your style. So that's fine too. So hope to see you in other videos, because I will not literally see you. You will be seeing me. And please subscribe and like and comment if you have any additional perspectives or what's going on with you, as that helps me learn and I can kind of gather more data and analyze in new ways for more people to learn and maybe start accepting astrology as a form of knowledge and wisdom and insight, and not something to be scared of, you know, because it's existed for a very, very long time. So, okay, bye.